exclusive zoning. In other words, now we're not only excluding industry, but we're excluding certain housing types, right? You can only build single family here. All the apartments need to go over here, and so forth. So it is, again, an exclusive zoning that is exclusionary. Certain housing can't go there. So what we find, particularly now, following the Fair Housing Act in the mid-1960s, and this is always at the local level. The federal government stepped in and said, with the Fair Housing Act, there shall be no discrimination in housing based on race. Local municipalities found a very effective way to get around that, and a legal one. They changed their zoning. They made it more and more restrictive, more and more exclusive. So that what we have now is what gets called economic zoning. So, right, Fair Housing Act is still in force. You cannot, deny somebody housing based on your race. But we legally can deny people housing based on their wealth status or their income. And so what happens is that a whole segment of our population, of our neighbors in our city of Raleigh, cannot live in a lot of areas of Raleigh because there's no housing diversity there. The only thing that they can buy are the more expensive single family housing on large lots. And so they cannot buy into the services, schools, etc., of these areas. The parts that make these areas so attractive, and because of the history of racist housing policies and their relationship to generational wealth building, and I direct you to a book such as Richard Rothstein's *The Color of Law*. If you're interested in a very rigorous study on this, is that for generations, African Americans have been unable to build wealth because of discriminatory housing policies. And so the economic exclusionary zoning too often translates into racially exclusionary zoning. And we just have to own up to that and recognize that even though, you and I and others didn't design it in that way, our market-driven, exclusionary zoned settlement patterns, that's what's happening. We might not have been particularly, maybe now designed to do that. Originally, some specifically were, but that's what the outcome is. And so even modest land use reform that Raleigh has started is a step in the right direction.